Hello guys. So in today's video we will understand about what are loops in Python. So before we start, we should first understand that why loops are even required. So let's take a simple task that you have to print the first 10 even numbers, right? So the first 10 even numbers you can say like 2, 4, 6, 8 and so on, right? So you can do one thing, that you can just print like line by line, that first you print 2, then you print 4, and then you print 6. So line by line you can print and you can get the first 10 numbers. But let's say now I have to print the first 1000 even numbers. So now you can see that it's a very difficult task. Like if you are doing it manually, you have to print all 500 all the 1000 even numbers. So starting from 2 you have to print everything one by one. So that's a very tedious task. Understood? So this is where loops come in. So loops are basically used to automate repetitive tasks in any programming language. So loops are not a concept that is specific to Python. It is used in other programming languages as well, right? We will understand how we can use loops to do this particular task. So for loops you have to keep in mind these two important things. One is the for loop and one is your while loop. So for loop is used when there is a sequence of values to iterate. Understood? Like let's say you have a list, right? We know what are lists. So let's say I have a list called numbers, and so for loop is used whenever you have a sequence of values and you need to iterate each and every one of those. So let's take an example. I'll just write something and I will explain you what it means. Right? I'll just run this code and then I will explain what it does. Yep. So you see you are getting an output of 1 from 1 till 9, right, in a sequence. So what it is actually doing, that this is going from 1 till whatever value is supplied here minus 1. So it is going from 1 till 9, and for each of these values it is doing print, right? So I is actually a variable that is taking the values whatever this range is providing. So you can think of range as a function that is repeatedly supplying values to this I, right? So first it supplied 1, then it supplied 2, then it supplied 3, then till, let's say this is your start value, let's write it this way, and this is your end value, right? So you can start from, let's say I'm starting from 1 and it is ending at 10, let's say. So what it effectively does is it is starting from 1 and it is going till end minus 1. So this is actually a syntax. I mean, this is something that you need to remember, that whatever you supply here, so the loop will go till the start, till it will skip this value and it will just end before this. So yeah, so here I have provided it as 1 and end as 10. So if I run it again, you will see the same output. Let's say if I provide 20 here instead, so you should see from 1 to 19, right? Let's understand a bit about this range function. So range has these two parameters, your start and end, and actually it also takes a value which is called step. And so there are a couple of more arguments that you can provide, but usually these three are the most common ones. So step is basically telling range that how many steps further should I go from the initial value. So if let's say if I give step as 1, then it will start from 1, then it will take a step 2, then again it will take a step 1 and it will go to 3, then again it will take a step 1 and it will go to 4. Let's say if I provide 2, so what will happen, it from 1 it will take 2 steps and it will go to 3, then 2 steps to 5. If I provide 10 here, then it will go to step 11, and then so after 11, if 10 steps, it becomes 21, right? And that is exceeding this end value, so it will just stop here itself. So I'll just show you in action all three examples. So this is my step 1, so it is just continuously printing. If I change it to 2, then it will basically print all odd values before 20, right? And if I change it to 10, it will just print 1 and 11. So that is all about the range function. So what is range? So you can see in the description also that it returns an object that produces a sequence of integers from start, that is inclusive, and to stop, which is exclusive, by step. If you don't provide a start value, it will always default to 0. That means that if you just provide range as 4, so it will start from 0 and it will go till 3. If you provide range as 6, it will start from 0 and go till 5, right? So that is kind of a shorthand representation of what you can do. Let's say if I don't provide the start, if I just provide the end, that is 25, and if I just have end here, then it will just go till 24, right? So it is starting from 0, you can see, and it is going till 24. So to solve this task, what we can do is I should ideally start from 2. I guess we can start from 2 because we are sure that 2 is an even number. We need to use the step as 2 here because it's even. We have to take 2 steps every time, and we should end at. So the 1000th even number will be, if we are starting from 2, that is the first even number. If 2 is the first, 4 is the second, then 1000 will be 2000, right? Because whatever is the number, you just multiply it by 2, right? So 5th even number will be 10, so 1000th even number will be 2000. So we can just put the values here. From start we go till end with a step, and we will just print I. So this will be a very big list, but you can see, okay, we actually need the 2000 number here. It is only printing till 98, so let's end it at 2001, I guess. Then we should get here 2000, right? So this is actually what we call an iterator. So for loop can iterate anything that returns an iterator, right? So one more example is a list. Say, let's say I have a list of fruits. We know what lists are. It's just a sequence of values, and I let's say have an apple, then we have an orange, then we have banana and grapes, right? Now I just want to print all of these values in a particular fashion. So let's say I can run a for loop like this, that if for fruit in fruits, I'll just print um, I want to eat a fruit here, right? So what is effectively happening is that this list is actually acting as an iterator here. So iterator is something that will give back values in a sequence. So first it will give apple, then it will go to orange, then it will go to banana, then it will go to grapes, like that. We can basically iterate a list. So for each fruit you can have some logic here, that I will just use some if statements here. So let's see if fruit is equal to apple, then I just print I am not hungry because I don't like apples, else I'll just say that fine, give it to me, I will eat a whatever fruit is there, right? So let's say what it gives. So you can see that when the fruit was apple, it just printed that I am not hungry, and for other fruits it prints this, fine, I will eat that specific fruit, fine, I will eat a orange or banana, right? So in this way you can work with loops using for. So now let's see how while loops work, right? So while loops are nothing but it is based on condition. So it just says that while something is true, then you perform some operation. So if you have like, so let's say while I'll just quickly show you an example. Let's say I have a counter variable and it is currently set to 1, and I will say while counter is less than 10, I want to print the counter, right? And let's see how it works. Oh, so you can see this, we have run into a very interesting thing. It is an infinite loop. So we should exit from here, otherwise my program will get crashed. So why did I run into an infinite loop? Because I am not updating this counter variable anywhere. So each time it is going and checking that whether counter is less than 10, and it is printing the counter, but we are not actually incrementing the value, right? So every time the counter is 1 only, so it is always true, so it will just keep on printing indefinitely until you run out of memory. You should always see whether your loop is becoming an infinite loop or not, right? So what you need to do is exactly is after this statement just do count is equal to count plus 1, right? So each time it is incrementing. Now this should work. Oh, it's not count, it's counter, right? So from 1 till 9 it is printing, and whenever it hit 10 it just broke from this loop, right? It just broke from this block, and it will then print whatever. Let's say if I print something here, I'll say hello, so it will print afterwards. Understood? So that's how while loops work. So you can put any condition here. So now let's learn about something called loop control statements, right? And there are actually 3 types. One is a break, one is a continue, and pass, right? So it's simple. I mean, whatever the name suggests, it's very self-explanatory. So whenever you use break in any loop, it will just break from that point, so it will exit the loop. It doesn't matter whatever your condition was before, it will just break off. Continue says that if you encounter a continue, it will just ignore whatever statements are there after this continue statement. Pass is used like a placeholder. I mean, So let's say if you are not actually sure of the logic there, you can just write a pass for the time being, and you can then update it later. So pass actually doesn't do anything, it is just like a placeholder. So you can think of it like a comment, right? It doesn't actually do anything, it's just there. So I'll just show an example for each. Should be 1, so it will print from 1 till it is 5, then after that it will check that I is greater than 5 and it will break, right? So let's execute this. Okay, we are not updating I, else I'll do I is equal to I plus 1. Right, so from it print through 1 to 5 and then it will break. So break will break out of so whenever break is placed, it will break out of the loop in which it is present. I mean, let's say if you have a nested loop, like a loop within a loop, then it will just break out of the loop, break out only of the first level, and the outer level will still continue. So one break statement is for one loop, right? Only the loop which is enclosing it. So let's say we have something of a list here, and we have some positive numbers and negative numbers, and we want to skip all the negative numbers in it. So what we can do is, so for I for let's say num in numbers, what we want to do, if I is less than 0, again it should be num is less than 0, and I should continue, right? Else I'll print the num. So you can see it is only printing the positive values and it is skipping over the negative ones. So whenever you encounter continue, I'll just show you that if I have some logic here, right? If I print, let's say, my name, so for negative numbers you would think that this is just an if else statement, right? And then this part of the code should get executed, but with continue everything after this will get skipped. So you see, you don't actually get this printed for negative numbers also. So it is always printed for the positive numbers, because all this part is skipped after this. Now we can have a pass here also. I'll just show you that what is the difference between a continue and a pass if you are confused. So in pass here also, since if it is a number less than 0, we don't do anything, we just use a pass, it's just a placeholder, and we get all the positive numbers. But let's say if I am printing something after this, right, after this if else statement, then you would see you are getting these two duplicate print statements, and that is happening because we have negative numbers also, right? And this is not actually stopping me from processing further. So this is just a pass, but then again it will come to this particular line and it will print it here. So this Niladri, you will see how many numbers are there, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, right? So you should get 7 print statements, 2 3 4 5 6 and 7. So you understand? So pass is just a placeholder, and for continue it acts like it will just force the control to skip everything, any code that is coming after this, right? And it will again go to the next number. Continue won't break you from the loop, it will just skip that particular number's execution, and it will just stop that particular number's execution, and it will move forward from there, right? So that was all for loops. I hope you got a clear understanding, and for those who are already aware, I wish that it helped you to refresh your concepts. So that's it for today, and see you in the next video.